Good afternoon, fellow members of my Declassified and Caribbean News channel. That's Declassified Caribbean channel. Thank you so much for joining. Now, this afternoon, we are going to be dealing with the topic is Andrew Holness, the Prime Minister of Jamaica, lying about the limits, right? And a potential war on Cuba. Is Andrew Holness lying about USS Nimitz and a potential war on Cuba? Now, I don't think that it's going to be a massive war on the scale of what is happening in Iran. I think that there is going to be maybe a little shootings here and there. We hopefully Jamaicans will be safe and many Cubans will not be hurt. But we must understand that this is not just an ordinary war effort that we are seeing building up in Jamaica. For years, many people across the Caribbean have believed that if Cuba ever faced direct military pressure from the United States, Russia and China would rush to its defense. But what if that assumption is wrong? And what if the reality of international politics is far colder? Today, we're going to examine some of these things and look at what is happening in the geopolitical realm as far as the role that Jamaica is going to play in this buildup of war efforts in Cuba. This is something that we have to watch closely. Many people are scared, but being scared is not going to help you. What you have to understand is that you have to know the truth. If you understand the truth, then there's no need to fear, even when you might be living in dangerous times, all right? But once you know the truth, once you anchor yourself in the truth, then you are going to know who is playing what cards, all right? And that is what I am here to do. Many of us are rendering sensationalist perspectives that we need not have right now because, things are becoming very, very, very concerning and getting dark. Now, the AP News says here that Trump's Cuba strategy echoes his Venezuela playbook, but there are key differences. And I will agree with the AP News report here to an extent. Administration's strategy against Cuba is looking a lot like the playbook for Venezuela. An oil blockade, a growing US military presence, federal charges, and repeated threats of intervention. And this morning I woke up to see that some of the family members of the Castro regime, both Fidel family members and Raul's, the Castro family in general, among others, including the current president of Cuba, that is Diaz-Canel, they have been indicted in US federal system. But similar pressure campaigns do not equal similar results, experts say, even if Donald Trump has often warned that Cuba is next. President Trump viewed the Venezuelan intervention as a fantastic success, said Brian, is it Funukane, a senior advisor with the International Crisis Group and a former State Department lawyer. And he sought to replicate the Venezuela model elsewhere, including in Iran. But obviously, Cuba, like Iran, is a very different country than Venezuela. I would not even compare Cuba to Iran at the moment because Cuba is in dire straits. They do not have any petroleum at all. I understand that garbage is filling the streets of Havana and other large cities. If the US were to depose Cuba's leadership, there is no obvious successor who would work with the Trump administration, Funikane said. That is unlike Venezuela, where the US captured leader Nicolas Maduro in January and his second in command, Delcy Rodriguez, stepped in with US approval and remains in power. I find this a little bit hard to accept because, even some of the mainstream newspapers were reporting that after the capture of Nicolas Maduro, that Delcy Rodriguez, even the Guardian newspaper reported, seemed to have been involved behind the scenes in terms of betrayal of her own president. Even though she was acting, she was behaving as if she were, against United States imperialism in Venezuela. But she was one of the main actors who participated in the capture of Nicolas Maduro and had inked out an agreement with the United States vis-a-vis Qatar. So is there some level of betrayal on the part of Cuba? What can we say? because there was betrayal in light of what happened in Venezuela. We know we're dealing with two Catholic countries, so Jesuits are behind the scenes, working, pulling the strings, and Jesuits like theater. That's why you call Hollywood the Jesuit theater. And this is drama that's unfolding right before our eyes, but we have to take stock and we have to ask critical questions and look at the playbook that we're seeing being played instead of getting all worked up about what is going to happen. Is Jamaica going to be attacked by drones? Already the United States is suggesting that Cuba is a threat because it bought, drones from Russia and China. It bought drones from Russia and China, and as a result of that, it's created for the Caribbean. Okay? Now, the number of American forces rather, in the Caribbean Sea now is also smaller and far less foreboding than the massive military buildup off Venezuela coast. Because I think that they understood, their perception was that Venezuela would have been harder and more difficult terrain to have maneuvered. I'm not sure of the terrain of Cuba, but Cuba is smaller than Venezuela. So off Venezuela's coast in the months ahead of Maduro's ouster. So that is understood why the military force would have been smaller in the Caribbean, now that they're building up the war efforts against Cuba. Now, Trump has threatened military action against Cuba. Like other conflicts, Trump began to lay the groundwork for U.S. intervention in Venezuela and the possibility for Cuba, with escalating threats months before military action took place. He has warned the leaders of the Caribbean countries to either get in line or face American might. And Andrew Holness in Jamaica suggested that too, that nothing is wrong with what Trump is doing in the Caribbean. Right? Andrew Holness is on record. It's almost saying that Trump has already highlighted to us that he controls this side of the hemisphere, and thus he is going to have to do what it takes. He's doing what the government wants, what he should do as president of the country. I wanted to show you this but it's not allowing me to get into the TikTok video with Andrew Holness speaking about the fact that this is nothing to be feared about. It's nothing to be scared about. The United States is doing its work of protecting the region, providing security. That is what Andrew Holness is saying. And we don't have to be concerned about what is happening. That is what Andrew Holness is suggesting. But didn't Kamala Person-Besesser of Trinidad and Tobago suggest the same thing, that the whole matter of the USS Gerald Ford in Trinidad and Tobago and the surveillance equipment that was installed in Tobago, that it had nothing to do with the Venezuelan conflict? And we eventually found out that it did. All right, we did know that it was going to have an impact on the buildup of war efforts in Venezuela, but she denied it. She was exhibiting, um, uh, you know, she was really, really exhibiting cognitive dissonance, and she wanted us to do this. It's denial plausibility, right? This is the denial plausibility that they are actually exhibiting. He has warned the leaders of the Caribbean countries to either get in line or face American might. Weeks before the audacious military operation that plucked Maduro from power, Trump stood with his top national security advisors in Florida and made what would be one of his last public threats to the autocratic leader. If he wants to do something, if he plays tough, it'll be the last time he'll ever be able to play tough. And we know that both leaders, both the then Venezuelan leader, that's Nicolas Maduro, and Trump were exchanging heated words. As we're seeing now with Miguel Diaz-Canel, they're also exchanging heated words. Cuba is ready to fall. Cuba looks like it's ready to fall. I don't know if they're going to hold out. This is what President Trump has said, or he mentioned it to reporters on January 5 after the capture of Nicolas Maduro. He went on to threaten tariffs on any country that sells or supplies oil to Cuba and said the U.S. might have the honor of taking Cuba following military operations in Venezuela and Iran. On Thursday, he repeated his threats, calling Cuba a failed country. Other presidents have looked at this for 50, 60 years, doing something, Trump said, and it looks like I'll be the one that does it. This is what he's bragging about, that he's the one who is going to dethrone the communist regime in Cuba. US oil embargoes on Cuba and Venezuela have been designed to have the same impact, putting intense pressure on ruling elites, but push diametrically opposite means to achieve those goals. With Venezuela, the Trump administration was targeting the country's oil exports, aiming to starve the Maduro government of revenue after Maduro's ouster. The focus shifted to denying Venezuela's ability to export oil to certain countries, primarily Cuba, from which it did not receive cash payments, and forcing it to agree to US conditions for such shipments. I wonder if Venezuela is going to have anything to do with the invasion of Cuba. That's the question that we need to ask, because they did have to stop the oil agreement that Cuba and Venezuela had sustained for over the years. Much of Venezuela's crude is now or will soon be sent through US refineries. So everything there in Venezuela is controlled rather, as far as Trump is concerned. With Cuba, the embargo is aimed at starving the energy-strapped country of oil imports, although the US has allowed some limited shipments to arrive on the island, which recently declared it had run out of reserves. The oil embargo, an extension of the broader US blockade on Cuba, is in place for decades, has made it far more difficult for the government to provide electricity and gasoline to its citizens. So Cuba really is on the verge of a total collapse. Okay? Now, look at what the United States is doing now. As they're saying, the same playbook is being used here. US also brings charges against figures in power. The Justice Department had charged Maduro with narco-terrorism, conspiracy, and other counts during Trump's first term in 2020. The case was used to justify capturing Maduro, who is now in New York awaiting trial and has pleaded not guilty. The move changed Venezuela's leadership, or relationship rather, with the United States, which has allowed the sale of previously sanctioned Venezuelan oil to US companies and on global markets, a massive shift after largely blocking dealings with Venezuela's government and its oil sector for years. And the same thing is being done with Cuba. The immediate aim of the indictment against Castro over the 1996 shootdown of civilian planes flown by Miami-based exiles is to take another step up the ladder of escalation in the Trump administration's pressure campaign, said William Leogrande, a professor specializing in Latin American politics at American University in Washington, D.C. But he said that capturing Castro following charges that include murder and the destruction of an airline or airplane would not change the operations of the Cuban government. Castro still has influence and the leadership seeks his opinion on major decisions, but he's not running the government on a day-to-day basis, Leogrand said. Now, notice that the CIA had met with the Castro family. So that's something interesting, how they met with them, and then afterwards, they're actually indicting them, something that is quite interesting, okay? So in the months before the Maduro was captured, the US dispatched a fleet of warships to the waters near Venezuela in what became its largest military buildup in Latin America in generations. The nation's most advanced warship, the USS Gerald R. Ford aircraft carrier, was notably rerouted from Europe to join in the operation. Three amphibious assault ships carried around 2,000 Marines, as well as helicopters and Osprey aircraft. And that's what we're seeing with the USS Nimitz. And people are suggesting that no, it has nothing to do with Cuba because it left from Brazil and went to Argentina and went to all of the countries that they've stated that it actually docked at before arriving in Jamaica. But is that an excuse or is that a justification for suggesting that this is not a buildup of war against Cuba? I don't think that is a cogent argument, that because it has left other countries or traveled to and then eventually is in Jamaica, that it's not. It's just goodwill. It has nothing to do with the whole Cuban the debacle. That is not true. all right? Because we understand that the United States is just about, as Trump says, to capture Cuba. U.S. forces spent months attacking small boats accused of smuggling drugs in the Caribbean and Eastern Pacific Ocean, and still are carrying out those strikes while fighter jets flew over the Gulf of Venezuela. And we've forgotten this. We've forgotten this. We do not care about that. And Andrew Holness is suggesting, and it's a pity I can't pull up the video that he has here. Something is blocking the video, and I'm not sure why it is doing such. Because it is something that we should listen to, something that we ought to listen to, and listen to how he has. Yeah, let me see if I can get him to speak here. Let me get it off here. Let me stop this thing, and then I'm going to show it to you because, yeah, this is very important that you listen to his words. I don't want to quote him or to misquote him, but that you listen to him as he articulates his sentiments. Obviously, he's not saying anything, and lots of time Andrew Holness is not saying anything. But the fact of the matter is that he's the Prime Minister of Jamaica, and one has to listen to him. But sometimes Andrew Holness needs to check what he's saying because he's just talking and using mere words. Circumlocution is his favorite exercise. Wow, it seems to me that the thing is taking some time to boot up. Yeah, so I'll be there. I'm here. Yes, so it's coming. It's taking some time to boot up. This computer is a little bit slow, so can you bear with me? Thank you so much for your patience. If not, we might have to move on if it's taking a long time to come up. We might have to just. It seems to me that it's not coming up. All right, so let's forego that. I don't want to waste your time. It's here. I'm not sure why it's just not. It's not coming up. Let me try one more time just to get your thoughts on the situation. Right. So he's here. Let me see if I could start at the beginning. This is just a lot of patience you have to have with this sort of technology. Where is it now? I had it here and then it's gone. Okay. Mhm.
Was also a function of a maritime space through which regional and international partners would provide logistical and operational support. And here I would like to thank the United States for supporting Jamaica's recovery and humanitarian efforts, particularly with airlift capacity. As climate risks intensify in the Caribbean, this dimension of our partnership will only grow in importance. A secure, well-governed maritime space is the precondition for everything else we are trying. To the sailors and officers of the U.S. limits, work you do is largely invisible to the people. That is the nature of effective deterrence. There is no press conference when a threat is quietly neutralized, no headline when the ceiling stays clear, not business. We see it nonetheless, and we are grateful for it.
Okay. So yeah, so he's obviously on board with the U.S. Nimitz rather, and its imperial undertaking in the Caribbean. Okay, Andrew Holness he's suggesting that this is just partnership, and the United States is serious about protecting the Caribbean and the region, Latin American region. Is that true? Or are they trying to expropriate and to capture the region's natural resources? I leave you to answer those questions, because you have to now wake up and understand that this is no ordinary game that the United States is an aggressor and it's trying to control everything around the world. It wants to control the world. The lamb-like beast is causing the entire world, or will cause eventually the entire world, to wander after the first beast. And that's exactly what it is doing. It's not playing. And you guys think that the United States is playing. And you think, those of you who think that this is just about Cuba, this is about the entire region. The entire region will be captured and will be militarized, is already being militarized, as I published in my video yesterday. Go and watch the videos I posted yesterday, because the Caribbean is in the process, has been a long time in the process of being fully militarized. So while the USS Nimitz is there, behind the scenes, they are already militarizing Jamaica, and they're capturing the requisite surveillance so that they can control that country and all of the neighboring countries, around. So wherever they went, they're not just there to proclaim goodwill. They're there to capture, to militarize, to disperse their surveillance equipment so that they can control every section from north to south and east to west, right? From north to south and east to west, they are going to control every nook and cranny of these particular countries. So let me know. I think that Andrew Holness needs to come clean. The Gleaner, the Jamaica Observer, the Jamaica media is lacking. At least during the build-up to the war on Venezuela, the Trinidad government, the Trinidad media rather, the Trinidad press, and they were actually carrying news and publishing things that were very important. I actually published a lot of videos based on what the Trinidad media were suggesting. In the Jamaican media, everything is mum. Nobody's saying anything about what is happening, right? There is not a conversation going on. Articles are not being written. Okay? That is to the extent to which the Jamaican government and the media are in full complicity with what the Trump administration is doing in Cuba. Okay? And they're suggesting here too that the students in Cuba, the medical students there, or all the students, I'm sure there are other students, perhaps there are other students there too, I don't know. But the government of Jamaica is suggesting that it will allow them to come back to Jamaica, a one passage, back to Jamaica, or if they want to stay in Cuba. And we saw that the same thing happened, to Trinidadians in Venezuela during the buildup of the war efforts against Venezuela, that the same thing Mrs. Kamala Persson was suggesting, that the Trinidadians there could opt to leave, or if they want to remain, before Trump actually went and captured the president and his wife. Okay? So we are seeing here the signals of war. The signals of war, and the United States, I'm sure, as we speak, at the moment, as we speak, is actually refining the tactics, its military tactics, to capture the people that it desires to capture from Cuba. I'm sure the Castro family, because they have had, untold influence, inordinate influence over that country. So I'm sure that they are some of the targeted ones to be kidnapped, captured, along with Miguel Diaz-Canel, the current president of Cuba. Now, what does thou think? Do you think that this whole, war efforts are going to succeed? Or do you think that somehow, miraculously, Russia and China are going to intervene and are going to challenge the United States power? I don't think that they are going to do that. We have seen this playbook before, haven't we? And why is it that we say the same things, same dumb things, over and over again, that Russia and China are going to be involved, they're going to go and they're going to challenge US dominion or domination in the region? they are not going to do it. Because the world is being divvied up, as I suggested in my 2030 agenda yesterday, the world agenda, the agenda 2030. Okay? The world is being divvied up by these billionaires, by these globalists, and they know what they're doing. But they play the game at the same time and tell us about sovereignty and, we have to protect our sovereignty when they are doing nothing. Do you think Andrew Holness of Jamaica is trying to protect Jamaica's sovereignty? Far from the reality. And he's suggesting in another video I watched about Jamaica being the leader in the region on this logistic, what do they call it? The logistics and the nonsense that they're talking about. A logistical hub. And the Dominican Republic is saying the same thing. And I'm sure other nations in the Caribbean and Latin America are suggesting the same thing. And the Dominican Republic is far more capable and qualified of becoming the logistical hub of the Caribbean, particularly in this region, in this northern region. They are more qualified because they have better infrastructure. They have underground railroad, right? They're building some great things here, some great infrastructure, transportation infrastructure that would make Jamaica look like we're nothing. Okay? So when we're talking about logistical hub, and let's talk about Cuba, if the United States should get Cuba tomorrow, it's over for Jamaica. It's over for Jamaica because we have not really built up our infrastructure, and every day the country looks worse and worse. And all they're doing down there is building up some high-rise building, some tourism building, resorts, as you call them. And you think that you are going to compete that way. And if Cuba should be in the throes of the United States power tomorrow, they might end up being the logistical hub of the Caribbean. Jamaica is not qualified, far from that. We're so many years behind that Andrew Holness is living in La La Land. He's living in a dream world. But he has to say things to convince his voters and to let them continue to say 1 p.m., up 1 p.m., while he's supporting the President of the United States, who has decided that he wants the entire region at the feet of the United States military-industrial complex. So please let me know, what do you think? I think that Dr. Andrew Holness, the Prime Minister of Jamaica, is lying, right? And I think that Jamaicans have to begin to read themselves, to inform themselves, not to be sensationalist. A lot of things that I'm seeing on the media, quite sensationalist. Stick with the facts and use your brain to think and to read between the line and to make very informative and important inferences. This is what you need to do. And this is what this channel, Declassified Caribbean, is really about. Thank you so much for joining.